What's up, geeks and gamers? It's Odin, and today we're going to be talking about the box office for the weekend, which included the release of Dumbo, yet another live-action movie from Disney that no one asked for because the original was just fine the way that it is, but it actually ended up having a pretty good weekend, taking the number one spot with $45 million. Now, many people are pointing out, saying that, this might be good for an opening weekend, but overall, it's actually probably going to end up not making nearly as much money. Could potentially get into that territory of will it make its money back, which personally, if it doesn't, I'm happy with that. And I'm not trying to say anything against the movie. I've never, I actually have not seen it yet. I'm not trying to say anyone that made the movie or anyone that was a part of the movie project, but I do think that it needs to be made. The statement needs to be made to Disney that you cannot just continue to remake, remodel, remake constantly your classic films and expect to make money off of them. So if Dumbo has to be one of the sacrificial lambs, I'm hoping the same thing happens with Aladdin, with Lion King, etc. If those need to fail in order for Disney to kind of wake up to, oh, we need to make some more original stories here, and we need to start actually caring about what people are going to see, then I think that overall that would make it a good thing. However, of course, 45 million is still nothing to snuff at, but based on the fact that they use a completely CGI elephant, the fact that they use a lot of CGI in this film, and also that it's a Tim Burton film, meaning that it's going to probably cost a little bit of cash, doesn't look like the movie is going to be a complete flop yet. We don't have evidence that it's going to be in flop territory quite yet. We'll have to see what the week 1 to week 2 drop-off is going to be, and then by next weekend we'll be able to tell whether or not it's going to be a flop or whether or not it's going to be able to barely make its money back. But overall, I think this is not nearly the number that they were wanting to have for its opening weekend. But we shall indeed see. And week 1 to week 2 is always very important. Us came in at the number 2 spot. Us is still doing very well, making $33.6 million for a rated R horror film. That is really, really good. You've already heard the comments that I had about Jordan Peele and the comments that he's made about this film in particular and the message behind this film, which actually differs from what Jeremy himself has said, because obviously not everyone on this channel has the same opinion. So go ahead and check out my channel for that. Obviously, it's not going to be an opinion that everyone's going to agree with, but I think it's still one that needs to be said nonetheless. Film is still doing very well for a rated R horror film. It's doing very, very, very well. And a 52.7% drop, that's about a standard drop. And also still the fact, again, it made $33 million this weekend is pretty insane. Captain Marvel continues to make money, unfortunately, with another 40% drop, $20.5 million. It is now very, very close to hitting the billion-dollar mark, and we'll probably hit the billion-dollar mark by next weekend, especially if we see a similar 50% drop from this weekend to next weekend, which is very likely, seeing that Shazam is going to be coming out next weekend, and Shazam is going to definitely be my moneymaker for sure, seeing that its early showing that happened last Saturday, made roughly $3.3 million, which actually was even better than what a similar film, Aquaman, had made in a similar type of release, and that, again, bodes very well for DC, bodes very well for Warner Brothers, and so hopefully we'll see that film have very strong opening that will eventually lead to it making a lot of money. Is it going to make $1 billion? That's still the number one question as far as Shazam is concerned. I think that it's going to make at least $600-700 million because it is indeed being well received. It's a comedy though, and comedies sometimes when it comes to superhero comedies don't nearly make as much as some of the other more serious ones, but we shall indeed see. Again, I'll follow the numbers opening weekend, see what the week 2 drop off is like, and see how it continues to make money in overseas and all the other markets, and we'll be able to tell you guys by week 2 about how much money the movie overall is going to make. We also have another movie release called Unplanned. This has to do with abortion, and so therefore this is a film that got panned by critics nonstop. Not to say that the film is not going to be bad, because unfortunately with Pure Flix, they are not known for always doing the best films out there. However, it's interesting that all of the reviews for this film so far, all like 9 of them, when it comes to the ones that have been negative, which have been most of them, you would look at them and you say, okay, you obviously hate this film because of the agenda it has, which is merely just pointing out the fact that we have a right to life. So it's talking about basically a woman who used to be one of the presidents of Planned Parenthood, who actually ended up having a conversion of heart, conversion of her life, and ended up becoming pro-life herself, which I think is a story that needs to be told. It's an important one to tell, and of course, most of the people in Hollywood and the critics are not going to like it, but still, that film made about $6 million. Pure Flix has been known to have some kind of core audience that still shows up to it. It cost about $6 million to make, so that's overall pretty good. And the only other major release this week was The Beach Bum, which only opened at about 1,000 screens or so. It's a Matthew McConaughey film, and again, I don't really know much about it. I have really no interest in it, so yeah, it probably didn't cost that much to make, and overall it's gonna, probably may end up making back its money in the long run. But anyway, just going down each of these films, Dumbo, again, worldwide made $116 million, so it, again, had a decent release with the foreign market, but not nearly the amount of money that they probably were thinking of. As I said before, we don't have an actual budget for this film, but we know that it's going to be north of $100 million, meaning that's going to need to make roughly $300 million or so to break even. I'll get you a more accurate number next weekend when we have the actual week 2 numbers, so that way we have a better idea of how much money the movie actually is going to make and also what it needs to make in order to break even. I'll try and track down those numbers for you guys and break that down for you next weekend. But $116 million worldwide opening, I mean, that's okay. I think that's, it's a decent opening for sure. It's a Disney movie. It was available in a crap ton of screens. You know that it's going to be available in pretty much every major format, including Dolby and IMAX, etc. So it definitely had a ticket price bump because of it. So the week 1 and week 2 drop will be interesting, but Shazam, I think, is going to take over the market next weekend. The question is going to be, is Dumbo going to be a number 2 film, or is it going to be a number 3, number 4 film? Because if this film drops to a number 3 or 4 slot over a film maybe like Captain Marvel or Us coming in at the number 2 or 3 slot, that could be a problem for the legs of this film, so we'll have to end up waiting to see that. Us has made $174 million, $20 million budget. This film is a hit. This film has made a crap ton of money. Once again, Jordan Peele has done it. He's figured out how to make a rated R film that appeals to a lot of different people. So you see, obviously, it's doing very well domestically, $128 million versus the $446 million. This is pretty standard, I would say, because domestic market's definitely going to be coming out to this film more often than not, because this is definitely a film that has a, that has representation on screen. For a core group of audience, for the African American community, and they tend to show up in droves to support these types of films because they are able to connect a little bit more so with the characters on screen, which again makes sense and also explains why the domestic total for these types of films are going to always end up being higher, because they're going to go out and support these films. But also, from what I've heard, not only from critics but also from audiences too, including some of my own students, it's a really good film too. So I'm actually really excited to see it, hoping to see it at some point, maybe today, maybe sometime this week. Things have been crazy, as you guys know, and thank you again for all the support. Thanks to Jeremy especially for all the support, especially the crazy stream on my channel that happened on Friday, which was awesome, which was insane. But anyway, based on all of this though, it looks like this film might actually be pretty good, so I'll have to go check it out for myself. Captain Marvel, $990 million. Again, this film's going to make $1 billion. It's going to crack the $1 billion. The question is, how high is it going to be? How over the $1 billion mark is it going to be? Obviously, you can see how it's slowed down tremendously. In the first 3 weeks, it made $900 million. And now in week 4, it's slowed down and, only made a couple more million. It's still doing well. I'm not going to deny that fact. I'm not going to deny that it's doing very, very well. It's going to reach that $1 billion point. It's made $636 million overseas. It's made $353 million domestically. This film has done very well. But of course, when you open it up in almost every screen, when you make sure the ticket prices are as high as they're going to be, and also when you have the media protecting this movie and also protecting its star Brie Larson constantly, it makes sense as to why this film did well. Also, of course, the normies coming out to support because it's at MCU in the title. Oh my gosh, Endgame, I have to see this movie. Oh wait, there's trolls attacking it? I'm going to believe it because it's the mainstream media. Yeah, the normies. Thanks to the normies, and also, of course, thanks to Disney for making sure and ensuring that this film was going to be successful. I'm more interested, to be honest, to see how Captain Marvel 2 fares, because it's going to have very similar, it's going to probably get a similar release as far as how it's released in the various countries at the same time, most likely, how it's going to be released in all the theaters with the ticket prices. However, it's going to be a question of how many of the normies have been turned off by this property and how many have not, and also where do people go after Endgame. I said this before, I think there's going to be a drop-off in almost every MCU film going forward after Endgame, because I do think there are a core group of people that are done after Endgame. I know a lot of people who've said, yeah, I mean, I just don't really care much because it's been 11 years, 22 films, it's been a great run, and now I kind of want something else. I kind of want something new. Maybe the DC universe will be able to offer something a little bit different. Shazam seems to be a pretty fun movie, which is something that obviously we have in the MCU. Guardians of the Galaxy could be a great example of that, but maybe it's going to be able to offer something different too. I think there's definitely going to be some, some superhero fatigue going on, so they need to start to change some things up here. But if they decide to go forward Captain Marvel 2, and they continue to maybe push forward, Miss Marvel with, them trying to push more diversity, inclusion, and have that be the message, and have Brie Larson continue to preach this message over and over again, it's going to eventually wear thin on people. Again, for anyone that maybe didn't hear that message before seeing it now, if it continues going forward, not just in this film, but all the other MCU Phase 4 films, that is going to definitely have an impact on it. The question is how quickly. It's going to take some time. 10 years, 22 films, they built up a massive, massive normie audience, and many of them do not care about this stuff. And so, as I said, this film is going to reach the $1 billion mark, and also on top of that too, Captain Marvel 2 has a very good chance of being successful. However, I would say it's going to be a lot more in that more of a question territory than it was for this film because of various other things. As I said, unplanned, only got a domestic release, probably is not going to make much more than that, but production budget of $6 million. This film most likely will make about that much money, if not in the theaters. Definitely in people, buying out theaters for their churches. You see that happen a lot with these faith-based films especially, and also to DVD Blu-ray release. Overall, this film will probably end up breaking breaking even. Obviously, this film was also not made to make money. It was made to tell a message. It was made to tell a story, and I think it's a story that's important to tell, but that's just my point of view on that. And of course, for my Alita contingency, yes, you are strong. You are indeed very mighty. I have your backs here. We are now over, once again, the $400 million mark after the adjustment that was made this week where it dropped back down to $399. We are now at 402. So as I said before, I think that the end number for this film is going to be closer to the $405 million mark, which means it needs to make about $25 million in the DVD 4K Blu-ray. As soon as I have that information, it's going to be available on my website, ombreviews.home.com. Don't worry, guys, I'm working on it. I'm getting all information about WordPress.org and possibly having a hosting site, making an actual official site and not just be kind of this workaround free site that I've been working with. As I said from the very beginning, the site that I'm working on is definitely meant to be a work in progress, and I'll go ahead and just show it to you guys. Again, it's nothing too special at this point. It's simplistic. It is meant to be that way. I do have, indeed, this score system that I've been setting up as well, and I've found workarounds to be able to make it work, but there are ways in which I'm going to be able to invest maybe a little bit of money into an actual server, into some themes, into some more legitimate, more straightforward, more streamlined rating systems, so that also you can save your ratings, create profiles, forums, things of that nature. So please keep posted on the Odin's Movie Vlog channel for that, because me and my wife Freya are working on that. We're talking about what we want to do. Summer is going to be when we are definitely going to go like full tilt into it and trying to get everything set up the way that we want it to look like, because the next time I release a website or the next major update to the website is going to be the one where it's like, I want this to be the with other than minor updates over time, this to be the final product. So this is of course just a starter. I think it's, again, pretty good for what it is. You need to have reviews here. You have scores here, an objective score, a subjective score. If you need more information about that, look, I got you covered. I explain it all right here. But also too, these update live. These are tied to Excel sheets in Google Sheets, and so every time someone submits a new review, it goes straight into the sheet, and then therefore it also updates here as well. Now, of course, it's a very low volume website, and so it's not going to update constantly like a Rotten Tomatoes or anything else would. But if you're looking for a Rotten Tomatoes alternative, there are indeed comment sections to all of these videos and all of these movies too. You do get the basic information, you get the basic release. So again, the scores are now going to be popping up here for some of the new releases. You can rate it by clicking on the link here. You can also put whether you're interested or not, thumbs up, thumbs down. I want to see it, don't want to see it, don't care. If you want to just leave a regular 5-star rating, boom, look at that. You have that option as well. The trailer, and of course you can leave a comment in the comment section. You can leave a review, and guess what? I'm not going to delete it unless you are someone who's going to leave like a hateful comment towards a specific person or race or something like that. Basically the standard thing. Be a human person, and as long as you're a human person, your comment's not going to be deleted, and your rating is definitely not going to be deleted either. So anyway, guys, that's going to be it for me. But Alita Battle Angel, yes, indeed, $402 million. But the reason why I was talking about that in the first place is because on the Alita page, and also for all the movies pages, whenever there is a DVD Blu-ray release date, I put that in the description. There is none for this point, but as you can see, just for the ones that are out of theaters, that are on DVD, boom, I have the DVD release. So, for example, we have Creed 2, that was released on March 2nd. I give you a link to it as well on Amazon, so that way you're able to access that as well. So, again, if you want to follow Alita Battle Angel, go ahead and bookmark the Alita movie page here, and as soon as I get an update on that, I will link it to to Amazon, to wherever it's going to be available, because I know that we're very excited for this, because as I said before, if it ranks out around $405 million worldwide, it needs to make about $25 million in Blu-ray sales, which it can do, I think, pretty easily, because if you look to other films in a similar category, in a similar genre that maybe didn't have the greatest box office run, they were able to sell up maybe at least around 1 million copies, 1 million products, 1 million units. If this can make at least 1 million units, which I definitely think there are enough people out there that love this film to sell at least 1 million units, what we're looking at is indeed closer to the $30 million range, which is about what it needs to make in order to break even turn a little bit of a profit as well. So it's not going to break a profit when it is in theaters, but the post-release does indeed look pretty good. Again, the closer it was to that $400 million mark, the better it is. The closer it gets to the $430 million mark, the better it is as well. But anyway, guys, what are y'all thoughts on this? What do you think about Alita Battle Angel? What do you think the final number for Alita Battle Angel is going to be? Do you think it's going to be around that 405? Do you think it could do even better? I just don't really see enough there to say that it could possibly do better than that. But again, obviously, I can be wrong. I've been wrong before. Speaking of that, Captain Marvel, it's going to reach $1 billion. Do you think it's going to reach $1 billion this week, next weekend? Definitely next weekend, but Shazam is going to definitely slow this film down, because not only that, you have Shazam coming out next weekend, and then only a couple weeks after that, you've got Endgame, so the legs of this film are definitely going to be affected, but they made the money they wanted to make, they sent the message they wanted to send, and they will continue to defend that message until they are blue in the face. Us. Have you seen Us yet? Do you care about Us? I hope you do, because I love you as well. But anyway, have you seen it? Was it scary? Was it awesome? Was it fun? Let me know. And Dumbo, do you plan on seeing it? Do you think that this film is going to end up breaking even? Do you think it's going to lose money? Do you hope it loses money? As I said before, I have nothing against the filmmakers here. I have nothing against Tim Burton, Colin Farrell, Danny DeVito. I don't want them to fail, but I do want this concept of let's remake and recast and reboot constantly over and over and over again and hope that we're just going to make money and we're going to break even and we're going to make profit off of it. I'm sorry, there have been some live action films that they've done so far that have been good. Cinderella, I actually really like that version, but they didn't need to remake it. They did not need to tell that story. And there's plenty of others that have also reached that same level. What are y'all's thoughts? Let me know. Also, guys, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button. Please go check me out over on the Odin's Movie Blog channel. As of course you know, YouTube's algorithm sucks. YouTube does not care about YouTube content creators. And so if you could, if you could help me out, I would appreciate it if you could like and share this video or like and share my channel. I would also greatly appreciate it as well. Also, guys, if you like this video, please subscribe to the Geeks and Gamers channel. We are growing every single day. Yes, we're losing subs on certain things, but we also, too, are growing as well. And also, you see that we don't care about whether or not someone on the channel has a certain view or not. We respect all people's views as long as you're able to present it, as long as you're able to, go to toe-to-toe and actually, defend that view. You're welcome here on this channel. And there was a live stream last night where you had two awesome people, Jesse Milestone and Jeremy, going back and forth, having a great discussion. And if you have not seen that yet, I'm sure the link is available on Twitter under Jesse's profile, under Jeremy's profile. Go check it out. It's really, really good stuff. Again, seeing them go back and forth on something that I think is important. And I think that, again, engaging in dialogue, engaging in conversation is where everything starts. So anyway, guys, that's going to be it for me today. And just because I saw there was one person last week who said, if you can hold the Odin for a longer period of time, then I will indeed sub to your channel. So this is for you. So if you do not want to see me try and hold Odin for as long as possible, you can go ahead and close the video now. The reason why I didn't do it at the very beginning is because the last thing I wanted was for the channel to be affected by this. But anyway, this is for that person. Alrighty. It's Thank you for watching. And as always, God bless.